What is going on, everyone? It's Brody back again with another tennis question, and today's tennis topic is going to be about what exactly does a tight string pattern do in a tennis racket. Now, before we get into that, there's a few things that we have to define, and that's going to be what exactly is a tight string pattern. The two most common types of string patterns today in tennis rackets are 16 by 19 and 18 by 20. 16 by 19, that is considered a more open string pattern, because when you are looking at the racket and how the strings move, there's a lot more space for the strings to move around on, snap back, and this helps to increase more power and spin coming off of your shot. A more tight or dense, as you may also hear it called, string pattern can be considered an 18 by 20. That has 18 mains, 20 crosses, and because there's so much more string inside of the racket, the string cannot move as easily. So this allows the denser string pattern or the tighter string pattern to give a lot more control. A lot of people, if they play flat or if they don't use a lot of spin, they prefer a tighter string pattern because their game is focused a lot of control, especially if they have a lot of power. The more power you have, typically some people need more help with control on the ball. Now, some people are able to accomplish a lot of control with spin, and that's where the 16 by 19s or the open string patterns come in. However, if you have a lot of power and you're more of a flat hitter, whether it be your forehand, your backhand, or anything, you want to look more towards the 18 by 20 side, just so that way you get more help from the racket than having the racket work against you in a more open string pattern. Now, 18 by 20 is not the only dense or tight string pattern there is in tennis. There have been some that have been more strings than that. There's been some that's less. One of the more common ones that's starting to show up now is an 18 by 19 string pattern. This one's a little weird. It's kind of like a hybrid between an 18-20 and a 16 by 19. The 18 by 19, the best way to think about it is that you have a lot of control, just like the 18 by 20. You just get a little bit more help with spin and power because there's one less cross string in the racket. Now, with that being said, in 18 by 19, you'll get just the littlest bit more power. You're not going to get as much control as an 18 by 20. But if you're looking for something because you've tried an 18 by 20 before and you've realized that you like the control, but it's just a little too much, that's where you can get and go into that 18 by 19 string pattern. Try it out in whatever frame you see, so that you can actually decide whether or not that works best for you, or if maybe you just need to change the string up in your 18 by 20 or your tighter string pattern. Now, with these 18 by 20s and everything, usually the main ways that you find them is going to be in the smaller head sizes and the heavier rackets. Tighter string patterns tend to do more well in those rackets because they're more players' frames. Now, players' frames means heavier, a lot harder to use if you just overall. And if you're a beginner or you're just starting out, you probably should stay away from these frames because they're going to be a little bit too harsh for you at your current state. After you've played for a few years and you understand your game, whether or not you hit flat, whether or not you hit with a lot of spin, a lot of power, that's when you can start to really look into a player's frame rather than just picking up some random one that you know nothing about that's going to hurt your game and potentially cause it to where you don't enjoy tennis anymore because you're playing with something that isn't made or built for your game specifically. So with that being said, the tighter patterns, if you're using a lot of control, go ahead, look for those. They do really well. If you're looking just for something that's going to be easy on the arm and helpful a little bit more, you probably should stick away from the tighter patterns like 18-20 and 18 by 19. Go with something like a 16 by 19 or a 16 by 20 string pattern, and that way the racket's going to help you a lot more just like you want it, rather than having to try and force it by using a tighter string pattern. Now, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like on it, comment down below any more questions that you may have, as well as subscribe to the channel so that we can grow this channel and just get this information out there. There's a lot of tennis misinformation in the tennis community, so I took it upon myself to make this channel so that we can get rid of that and get the information from the people who have it to the people who need it. And with that being said, as always, take care.